Paraphrasing is every student's headache when they first start out on academic writing. But today I want to simplify this process for you and explain how to do it so that no anti-plagiarism software would detect your work. Now, who are the people who need this paraphrasing the most? First of all, when you are writing anything that's literature review or anything that makes you cross-compare and cross-analyze the findings of other people, especially when you're trying to build evidence within your coursework or even for your thesis or for your dissertation. In the most basic form of paraphrasing, what people do is to change the words that are contained in another person's sentence or in another person's essay. So somebody goes like using synonyms or modifying a few words within the sentence as paraphrasing. But this is a very basic form of paraphrasing. There is another layer of paraphrasing that we'll get into just shortly. But let's still focus on how to paraphrase something. So if you have a sentence, for instance, that somebody has written, a conclusion that somebody has written in his research, and you want to paraphrase that work, the most standard way of doing it is first to read that work and ensure that you have a good understanding of it. Because again, if you don't have good understanding of something, you can't paraphrase it. You'll just be confused and giving yourself unnecessary headache. Before we continue, go ahead and share this video with your friends. Now, by the time you've read and understood the concepts that the writer is trying to address or discuss, you then go ahead to look at the sentence and say, okay, if I rearrange the position of things in this particular sentence, then what does it help me to achieve? You take the subject of the sentence, for instance, make it the object of that particular sentence, move the object of the sentence to the subject position, and you find yourself within a position where you are forced to rearrange that particular sentence, and then add the synonyms to replace some of those words that are contained in the sentence. Let me give you a typical example to buttress the point and bring it home for you. So if you have this sentence, for instance, online learning improves student engagement by allowing them to study at all times of the day and at their own pace. Somebody says paraphrase this particular sentence. What do? Somebody else can go and say, instead of online learning, the person says virtual learning, or the person says distance learning. But if you want to go by the approach I'm just trying to teach you now, what you want to do is move what is at the object position and move it to the subject position. So you say something like this: by allowing people constant access and giving them opportunity to learn at their own pace, online learning helps to improve student performance or student engagement. You've changed positions, and because you've changed positions, you see yourself including some new words into that sentence mix. This is at the very basic format. Then now go ahead to modify some of those words using their synonyms. Change them to their synonyms, and you find yourself with a piece of sentence that nobody is going to hold you onto as though you have copied from somewhere. Remember that even when you paraphrase something in academic writing, you must still cite that person who originally wrote that idea. Don't forget that, bear it in mind, and always remember to cite people. Now, in the other form of paraphrasing, you paraphrase and then you add your own angle to the discussion. You are adding that in addition to just letting them have constant access to educational material, online learning also lets people have other individuals who can explain those things to them from their family. So your family member is an engineer and you are studying engineering. By distance learning, that family member can constantly explain the concepts that you misunderstand or that you are struggling to understand. Now, when you bring this angle to the original conversation, that is another form of paraphrasing, and that inclusion ensures that you are nowhere going to be caught by any anti-plagiarism tool. There is a third layer to it. In the third layer, you are cross-comparing different findings and bringing in your own voice. Remember that this conversation is relevant to those of you who are doing academic writing at various levels, and even the people who are doing their coursework, especially here in the UK. So if you have just moved to the UK or know anybody who has moved to the UK, you need to share this video with them for them to learn. At that highest level, we are looking at various authors. Instead of just paraphrasing what one author has said, you are looking at what various authors have said. You are comparing what these authors have said, and then you are adding your own voice. One author says that online learning improves student engagement by allowing them time and allowing them to learn at their own pace. Another person said that online learning does not really improve the engagement of every student, because some students prefer to play around when you give them the liberty to study at their own pace. And then you now come to say, okay, this person said this while the other person says that. However, you are bringing now your own voice to say that the studies that both people have conducted ignored a certain component. Maybe, for instance, they have done those studies within the age bracket of students in the university, or maybe 400 level students in the university who already understand the implications of good learning and how it impacts their job, but they have ignored the lower class of people, maybe primary school students who may not really engage with online learning. By bringing in your own voice, cross-comparing, you are putting yourself at the A grade of paraphrasing and academic writing. So paraphrasing is not about just using synonyms. It goes beyond that, and when you follow these things that I've just said now, you get yourself a piece of work that doesn't even need to go through anti-plagiarism before you submit it. This is Academy of Scholarships and Transitions. Run now and start following us.